Good day, Mason here. On today's episode, we're going to look at making some buns for hamburgers. In a later episode, we'll make some specialty hamburgers. Let us begin. To begin this project, we're going to need 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 package of yeast, or 2.5 teaspoons worth, 1 tablespoon of honey, 4 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of warm water. To begin the process, we're going to add our yeast to the warm water, and depending on the type of yeast you have, I have instant yeast, so I'm done now, but if you got conventional, you might want to let it sit there for 15 minutes and make sure it comes alive. Okay, time to begin the construction process. So we're going to begin by getting our big mixing bowl out and then dumping our flour into the mixing bowl. Just like that. Perfect. And now, of course, we're going to add some of our other ingredients. We're going to add in our salt and our honey. And I'm just going to accelerate the honey into the bowl using the spatula. And now I'm going to dump in our water and our yeast combination. Perfect. So that's all of our ingredients now combined into the bowl. So now all we need to do is begin the mixing process. Now it doesn't take very long to find out that this is a very sticky dough. And as a very sticky dough, it's very difficult to mix with conventional mixing equipment. Unless, of course, you're using like an actual mixer or stand or hand mixer, whatever. But I find that using the old gloves works really good for this. So you just kind of mix it in the bowl till it kind of holds together, which doesn't take very long. And then it's a simple matter of dumping it out on the counter and scraping off the edges as best as you can and just manually knead the dough. It's not terribly difficult to do, but it works good. It won't take very long for the dough to all come together. And this is one of those doughs that you just want to mix it till it comes together and then just kind of leave it. You don't want to overmix this. You don't want to heat it into complete submission. And once your counter starts to go clean and it's all kind of one piece, you're kind of done. So now we're going to get our bowl out, a nice clean bowl, and we're going to add some oil to it. That stops the dough from sticking to the bowl. And then we'll set our dough in there, give it the old slush around mix. And of course, before we forget, we want to cover it with a towel and throw it in the oven with the light bulb on for about an hour. And once we're done doing that, we'll take it out and we'll see it's significantly bigger. So now we're going to divide this up. I'm going to make 6 buns out of this. You can try to get, well, you can probably get more than 6 out of it. They came out fairly large. Probably get 8, maybe even 12. But 6 worked really good for me. So I'm just going to divide it into 6 equal chunks. And then I'm going to roll them into balls. And then kind of get them kind of bun shaped, I guess. Now I didn't weigh all these out to get the equal amounts of weight. So some of them were bigger than other ones. And the way I get around that is I cut pieces off the bigger ones and merge them onto the smaller ones and then keep kind of rolling them. The only problem is that I got so much oil in the bowl from beforehand that it's kind of hard to get the dough to connect to itself, so it kind of makes things kind of a bit of a hassle, but not the end of the world. And in a few minutes it'll all be perfect, so we'll get those all on the baking sheet. But we're not done yet. We're not baking these quite yet. First, we're going to be boiling some water on the stove. Just going to crank the temperature up on there to max. And here we are. We got boiling water, so now I'm going to add some baking soda to it, about half a cup. You could do this in a bigger pot, and then you could do more than one at a time, but we're going to be boiling these. And that really changes the composition of the dough itself. And it makes this more like a bagel type of a bun rather than a more airy kind of French loaf style. So gonna boil it for 30 seconds, flip it over, boil it another 30 seconds, and then take it out of the water and put it back on the cooking sheet. And once it's done being boiled, we can shape with our hands. Just kind of doing a turn, kind of squeeze thing, just to get it more of a bun type shape. We don't want it to be super high, we want it to be super flat. So we can just adjust the parameters that way. And of course we're gonna boil the rest of them. 30 seconds flip, 30 seconds done, 30 seconds flip, 30 seconds, done. And before you know it, you'll have all of them done. Now as we're going, after I finish each one, I'm going to be doing my little reshaping routine. They're not that hot out of the water, especially if you have the water side down. And then just keep turning them. I mean, it's a little bit warm, but once you have your shape, because it's not fully cooked at this point. But moving on, I'm going to crack open an egg into a bowl here. Of course, I drop the eggshell into the bowl. And don't worry about those portobello mushrooms up there, that's for a future video. And now what we're going to do is we're going to beat the egg with the fork, and we're going to give ourselves an egg wash. So with that, we're just going to take a brush and then brush all this egg on top of each one of the buns. Of course, when doing this, try not to spill as much egg as I did right at the start, because that kind of makes it harder to cook, because then you have all the egg kind of cooking in the bottom there, and it's almost like fried eggs on the bottom of your buns, which is kind of not really the direction we want to go to. And as you saw, that one bun's kind of falling apart or whatever, but when it bakes, it should start to hold together a little bit better. And whereas if I tried to rework it now, it would probably make things a lot worse. So it's one of those deals where trying to fix something makes it worse, so just leaving it is the best option there is. And now we can go into the oven. 350 degrees, approximately 20 minutes. And once it comes out of the oven, you're going to see that mess that I had with the eggs. And I was going to clean this up off camera, but I figured why not show it. So what I'm going to do is pull each one of them up and just kind of peel off the excess egg around the edges. The eggs are what give them the nice golden brown color. But if you have the little edge of the egg on there, it kind of takes away from the whole project. So remove the little edges around the outside and you'll be all set. I think they're not too bad looking now. And we can move on to the next step, which is actually using one of these buns. And when I cut it open, you'll be able to see the inner matrix of how the bun's laid out, and it's kind of got that high density, almost bagel-like consistency. And I'm just having a kind of a chicken burger thing here. I didn't have any hamburgers on hand, so this is the best I had. So let me know in the comments below how you make your hamburger buns, and if you do the whole boiling thing like I did here. And if you like my content and would like to see more of it, please like and subscribe. And until next time, stay awesome.